So thank you very much, and thank you for your invitation to participate in this brainstorming process about a new democratic governance around Adrian Aqueduct. I am very impressed, to be honest, I'm very impressed by the multidimensional aspects of this project and by this ambition. So yes, it's a very pioneering innovation and to how to involve more and more the neighborhood and all the stakeholders about this project. So it was my first comment, but before starting my presentation, because I know I have 15 minutes, I focused my presentation on more on the observatory, a water observatory set up in Paris. But just before that, I would like to mention that we have also a non-drinkable water network in Paris, and it's quite rare. So I think now we are the only big city, I'm sure we are the only big city in France to have two networks. So potable and drinkable and non-drinkable network. And around, when I was deputy mayor in charge of water policy, my water department administration wanted to dismantle it. And I was against. So there was a big struggle between the political level and the technical administrative level, more technical level. And I decided to organize a consensus conference. So it's, I don't know if you know this tool, is, I don't have enough time, but I can also give more details later. But it's like a democratic tool with a lot of workshop and to raise concern among the, citizens and inhabitants of Paris about this network. And finally, and why I did that? I did that because I guessed that if we have public debates on the new uses, like you, coming from the non-drinkable water network, we can imagine city of Paris more related to water issue, and at the end I thought that we can save this network, because I wanted to save this network. And finally, it was the case. After the consensus conference, the jury, like the panel, decided to keep it. And all the administration and the water department, but not only the water department, now work work with this network and to imagine new uses. Also watering and cleaning, but also fighting against a heat wave in the city. So it was my first comment because I didn't write in my presentation. And also, just a comment about my presentation is more like a thick pudding. I'm really sorry of that because I wrote a lot because I thought it was easier for the translator and maybe easier for you, and because I will keep you also the PowerPoint so to have more information. So I call that a water revolution, so, because I'm French, because revolution we like that. But to be honest, why doesn't work? Okay, just give you some elements for the context. Okay, I will do that later. So in 2001, a new coalition, new political coalition came into power in Paris. And it's important because we have a more progressive agenda. And one of the first commitment was to municipalize. No, I was pro the municipalization, but at the beginning, there is no majority even amongst the left coalition, left and green coalition, to remunicipalize. But at least we wanted to regain the control over the water policy. And there was a political debate. So how we can organize the water system in Paris. And to make long story short, I was at that time I was the chair and CEO of the water production company, and I was also a city councillor. And an association, a Parisian association, decided to propose an observatory. And I proposed this, idea to vote, to debate and to vote in the city council. So it was adopted. So in 2006, there was this observatory, but I wasn't, at that time I wasn't the deputy mayor, and the deputy mayor, the former deputy mayor was more, not conservative, but more afraid, to give voice and to give a word from the citizens. So it was more like a communication tool about the future of the water service in Paris. But when I was re-elected again in 2008, and I was appointed by the mayor, Bertrand Delanoë, as a deputy mayor of water, sanitation, and canals management. And I decided to give more power to the observatory, to rename it, and to give more power, and to transform into a platform of debates and consultation. Okay. And because I give you my political vision, because it's under my responsibility and under my charge. We set up this very ambitious overhaul of policy, water policy in Paris. So first of all, I thought that it was a precondition to have a publicly owned company for all the water cycle in Paris. So we decided to municipalize. But also I thought that it was absolutely crucial to have a more democratic governance for a water policy. So I opened this observatory to a platform, and we create Eau de Paris, the biggest publicly owned water company in France, still so far. And so, as you can see, with all this water operation activity under its control, and also a very important relation with water users. So never in Paris we had this activity under public control. So now we have that, until customer and users management. So it's very important. So I don't have enough time, but just, because for me it was very important to say again and again that public management can be very efficient and more efficient than private one. Of course, I know that not all public management are very efficient, but it can be very efficient and more socially and environmentally and democratically engaged, and we prove that in Paris. So I don't read, but you will have the PowerPoint. So in this new governance for a water system in Paris, first of all, we decided, and it was very important also for me, to have a board of directors. So I was a chair of the board of directors of this new water company, to have an open board of directors. So as you can see, before that, it was only elected officials, a majority and minority in the board. But for the first time, we have now associations, also experts. And all the board, all the directors have the same power. So the right, the voting right, and the voting right, so it's a big change. And also, of course, an open access to all information and documents regarding all the data and reports and activities of Eau de Paris. So it means investment and business plans or everything. And of course, under my presidency, we organize a lot of debate about clarification, preservation of water, about everything. And I just mentioned, for me, a very telling example of a positive impact of this open governance is about, as I said, the relation with users and the citizen. Because before, I say technical, I'm sorry for the technical level, but technical and administrative level didn't want to insource the direct contact, relation with the users, because they thought that it was too complicated and inefficient, blah, blah. But for me it was very important, but I don't have enough time. But before, when it was under private management, the tarification, so the billing and the call center managed by the private was very lucrative. So I didn't want to outsource again, because I know, first of all, that we can gain more funds with insourcing billing, and also to have the direct contact with the users and with the customers. Of course, we can improve also. We can improve the management, and we can control, anything related to this part of the service. So we decided that after a debate amongst the directors of the board, and it's also, even it was not a public debate, but even close debate, but we succeed to do that after a debate among the board of directors. So now, a new tool. Yes, it's okay? New tool. So the Parisian Water Observatory. So as I told you, we transformed this observatory coming from more information, but top-down information tool, to a more consultative. So what were the goals pursued in order to create this observatory? I think, like here, there was a political will to involve Parisians in the water service. And there are, as I think, like here, usually not a big interest, and why? Because there is no visibility. And I think it's a very specificity of a water sector. There is no visibility. In Paris, all the pipes, of course, are on the ground. All the plants are outside of Paris. So, except the top, in your kitchen or in your bathroom, you don't see anything about water. And I think it's a big issue for us, for water actors, how we can involve. So that's why I think it's very interesting. Your project is very interesting, because you give a new visibility also. So there is a testimony, but also, past and future visibility around water. But of course, we wanted to bring citizens closer to the decision. So there is a lot of consultation and debates on all the water issues. So it's very important. So now all the deliberation voted in the city hall must be debated before the water observatory. It's not possible to discuss any water-related issue without consultation and without debate among the observatory. And for me, it was also a way to broaden the perspective, because, you know, when I think, I don't know here, but, you know, in France and in Paris, but in France and Paris, usually, you know, the water actors, how can I say that, you know, discuss among their peers, you know, there is not really, there are not really open discussion with urbanists, architects, I don't know, many different kinds of partners who could be very interesting and interested in debating about water. So the observatory was a way to have this kind of perspective. And also, the last point for me is very important in I think in the good public policy to have administration and, you know, technical administration, the political level and the civil society level, like a triptych, to have like a games, a power games among, and I think it's an asset to improve the system and to adapt it also. So as I told you, it's like a heavy pudding, but you can. So so it's a city bylaw. It's like a decree. Because there is, I don't know if it was maybe you or Costas. So about the legal framework. So we have a decree, a city bylaw, and then, you know, it's written. The Parisian Water Observatory is a support to the municipality, so we have a purpose decided by the municipality and written. So, as I said, you know, there is a monitoring role and participation and consultation, so about all the topics. It's an extra-municipal commission. So I don't know if I have time to detail that, but it was a big discussion how to create that, because it's the first one. So it was like you more pioneer decision. So there is, and still now is more or less the only one in France. But I will tell you later that there is new initiative about water democracy. But at that time it was really the first initiative. So extra-municipal commission, because we thought that it was the best way to set up this water observatory. We have a composition with 4 colleges, with representative of water users, a member of the city council and local council, because we are districts, so there is local, so at the municipal and local levels. And of course, all institutional and operational actors connected and linked to the Parisian water service, universities and research organizations, and in fact, actually any Parisian interested in the water issue. So everybody can say, I want to participate in this observatory, and he's accepted. So there is no, it's very open. So because it's extra-municipal commission and a municipal decree, the secretariat is provided by the water department, the Department of Environmental Protection and Water. and it's chaired by, at the beginning it was chaired by myself, and I struggled with the administration to say that it wasn't possible to be chair of Eau de Paris, deputy mayor of Paris in charge of water, and chair of the water observatory. So it makes no sense for me because I wanted to have a democratic tool. But why I say that? Because for the administration it was not possible to give the lead of this new democratic tool to citizens, because they say, what can they do, what can they say? So after 1 year, I succeeded to find the juridical way to have, a presidency elected among the members of the observatory. So it's like autonomous management. So you see, there is a bureau, and they have an annual road program, and they can present a new item and topics for the city council to debate. So in theory, if they say we want to discuss about, I don't know, about leaks, but we have very, very, very few leaks in Paris, so around 5%, so there is no water leaks. But I don't know, about lead in water pipes, about everything. The water department and the administration of Eau de Paris have to be involved in the process of debate and to give data and reports and everything. So they organize meetings, plenary session, and working thematic group. And in theory, but to be honest, I say also the success and the weaknesses because I think it's better for you. So I wanted to give a budget to this observatory for training, for example, to invite some. For example, you invite me, to discuss about that. But I wanted also to have the possibility to invite, some external partners or in being a person. But I didn't succeed. I didn't succeed because I didn't succeed to find the way in a juridical administrative level to give a budget. But I think it's necessary. So outcomes and perspective, maybe because I have 3 minutes, I know. So what can I say? So the positive outcomes, really, it's first that we raise awareness and consciousness about water issues among Parisians. I think it's not enough for many reasons, but now we have more connection with associations, with different kind of stakeholders related to water issue, and really little cycle and the big cycle. So not only about the water networks in Paris, but also connected with the region, because at Paris we all our water comes from outside of Paris. So we need to have also a relation with farmers and also with other cities out of Paris. So awareness and so now, and I think it's not nothing. I oblige the administration to make available and readable the reports, because as I say, is as you know, water topic is quite technical, complex issue. It's not easy to be aware and to the process if you don't have, you know, some basic formation, a basic training, and basic knowledge about that. So I think one of the first step is to make all the information and data readable and available. So I think it's a good point. And now we have a lot of debates in the board, and I shouldn't say that, but now the more involved and committed directors, administrators are the members coming from the associations. And the city councillor are not so involved. But the more involved director are the association and the observatory, because I think you read it, that there is a member of the observatory among the board of directors. So it's very important you have a connection between the observatory and the board of directors of Eau de Paris. And I give an example of the influence of the innovative model of governance is the COVID-19. Because of that, we have, Eau de Paris was much more aware about, the needs of the citizens and the Parisians, and about, the different measures inspired by this governance. And just to finish my conclusion. So it's more or less a unique experience of this kind in Paris, but not to be so negative. We inspired other cities, and I give just one example. But Lyon, I don't know if you know Lyon. Lyon is a big metropole, metropolis. Yes, metropole. So it's a big metropole, and Lyon is directly inspired by Paris' experience and decided to have also a democratic governance, because they just decided to municipalize also. And along with municipalization, to have a democratization of the water service. And Montpellier, so now there is more and more, first of all, in France, more and more municipalization and publicly owned water service and water company in France. And along that, political willingness to have more democratic governance. So it's a good impact. Of course, there was a clear reluctance from administration, but now it's a little better. But to be honest, it really depends on political will. So really, Costas and the other, you have, a big, a big burden on your shoulders, because I really experiment that. If there is not a strong political willingness to have a democratic governance, it's not possible. So I think we have to invent new modes of shared decision-making processes with more inclusive and how we can empower citizens. So I think new project really is not because you invite me, but I think it's a very interesting model, very interested, as I said, multidimensional, and so very ambitious. And but I think it's very important to have more participatory governance and sustained public management, because we are facing a lot of challenges. Climate crisis, loss of biodiversity, political division also. And for me, because I am a politician, but I think it's very, very crucial to give more power to citizens and to population to adapt also our systems, so local system, local service, but also at the national level. But even at the local levels, because local levels are very powerful, so we need to have more public participation to address to address the new challenges, the new crises we are facing, and also to address our institutions' legitimacy crisis, because here, like in France. So thank you very much. And I hope I give you an idea of what we did in Paris.